What's up, guys? We're out here on a weekend camping trip, and I wanted to share a product with you that I've been using for a couple months now that has been absolutely awesome. I take it on every single trip, no matter if it's a 2-day trip, a 5-day trip, a week trip, doesn't matter. This thing comes everywhere with me. Let me show it to you. I'll give you a look at what comes in the box, how everything kind of connects, and then I'm going to show it to you in action and why I love it so much. It's the ITEHIL portable water filter. Let's take a look at what comes in the box, and then we'll put it to action, let you see what it does, and then we'll go over some of the features and the pros and cons of this unit. All right, guys, so here it is, the ITEHIL portable water filtration system. Let me show you everything it comes with. Super easy to use. This thing is basically idiot proof. It's very simple to set up. All you're gonna get in the box is your carrying case. That's what I keep all my hosing in. Makes it super easy to carry around. So your carrying bag, your instruction manual, you get a blue hose for your wastewater and a white hose for your drinking water. They are interchangeable. I'll show you why they say blue for waste and white for drinking, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I will say the blue is actually a little bit longer. Just keep that in mind. You get your charging cable, a filter wrench. It does come with 2 filters. We already have them installed. I'll give you a look at them. It just goes right underneath this little flap here. You can't miss it. You can't screw it up. It's super easy to install. And then the only other piece is your intake hose, which looks like this. So this has a pre-filter on it. I don't know if you can hear. I don't know if that's carbon. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what that is, to be honest. But this is the part that you're going to toss into your water source, whether it's the river or lake, stream, whatever the case may be. Wherever you're getting water from, you're going to throw that pre-filter in. The other end screws into the back of the system, which I'll give you a look at now. There's only a total of 3 buttons on this thing. Again, super easy to use. I'll give you a quick look at how everything hooks up, and then we're going to put this to put this to use. I'll show you it in action, and you'll get a chance to see what this thing can do. So let me give you a quick look at where everything connects, and we'll go from there. So as I mentioned, I've already installed the filters because I've been using this thing for, I don't even know, a couple months now. I've used it multiple times on my trips. But you can see right here is where your 2 filters are going to go. Now, there's 2 types of filters. There's a hybrid filter and an RO, or reverse osmosis is what it stands for, filter. They do have specific spots that they need to go in. I'm not going to take mine out because they're already, again, I've used this several times at this point, so they have some water in them. I'm not going to take them out, but literally all you got to do is, I'll take a picture and put it on your screen. When you go to install these, there's a little arrow right there on the top tab. You just line that arrow up with the unlock spot. You push down and then turn it to the lock position. So you can see the arrows pointing to the lock position now. So again, when you line it up with the unlock, you push down and then twist. They are a little snug in there. That's why they send a wrench. I did it by hand. You can do it by hand for sure. But if you have like weaker hands or, you know, any kind of issue with grip, you might want to use that filter wrench. So again, hybrid filter on that side, RO filter on this side. They are marked. I'll put a picture on the screen there. Once they're installed, you're ready to head to your body of water and get everything hooked up. As I mentioned, this can't get any simpler. You're going to take your intake hose, the one that you're going to put in your body of water, the part that screws into the unit, looks like that. You literally just undo this cap. That's where it screws in. You don't have to go crazy, just make it finger tight. Now, if you flip it around, you're going to remove this cap here, and you can see you have a white and a blue port. This is why they say use the blue for the wastewater, because the white, this side is where your drinking water is going to come from. So the hoses are, as I mentioned, identical, other than the blue being a little bit longer. They will work in either port, but just make sure you're aware that this side is where your drinking water is going to come out of. There's actually a label right up here. Again, I'll take a picture and put it on the screen because you probably can't see it, but there's a label that says drinking water right there. So I do use the white for my drinking water. So literally all you do, it's a push to connect fitting. So you're going to push it in, you're going to hit a little resistance, and then you're going to push a little bit further, and it's going to lock into place. Same with the blue side. And you are now literally ready to use this. It's that simple to set up. If you want to take these hoses out, the outer ring, again, it's a push to connect fitting. So literally all you have to do, you can do it with 2 hands or one. I'll show you with one. All you do is take the outer ring, push it in, and then pull the hose back. So again, that outer ring, you're going to push that in and then pull the hose back, and you'll be able to remove them for storage. All right, once you have your hoses connected and your pre-filter in your water source, stream, river, lake, whatever it is, these are the only 3 buttons you have to worry about. This top port is your charging port. You can peel that back to show your charging port. It's a USB-C connection. And again, they do send that charging cord for you. Then the only 3 buttons this machine has is the top one is your on-off button. To turn it on, you're going to push and hold for 3 seconds. To turn it off, you're just going to tap it. I'm not going to do it now. I've already disconnected everything. And one thing I will say is you don't want to run, you want to make sure your pre-filter is in your water source before turning this on. Okay, just so you don't burn up the motors or do any damage to the unit. So next button is your RO filter reset. And then the last button is your hybrid filter reset. What they do is when it's time to change your filters, the lights down here are going to come on. So if it's time to change your hybrid filter, that light you can see right down here where it says run, charge, RO, and hybrid. Those 4 lights are the only lights on the machine. So if it's time to change your hybrid filter, the machine does keep track of how many gallons run through it. That light's going to come on for hybrid. You're going to push and hold your button, change your filter. It'll reset everything. You're good to go. Same thing for the RO. And then the charge light, when it's charging, it'll flash red. When it's fully charged, it'll stay lit in green. And then obviously when you're running the unit, the run button will light up. So that's literally all there is to this thing. As I mentioned, it can't be any simpler. The only other thing I will say is for the very first time when you run this or after you change your filters, they do want you to run it for 10 minutes to just kind of, I guess, kind of rinse out the filters before you actually use them. So using it for the first time or after you change a filter, run it for 10 minutes and then you're good to go. All right, so as you guys can see, we are here at a, I don't know, little river, creek, whatever you want to call it. Decent sized body of water, not too far from where we're camping. So I'm going to show you this thing in action. You can see we already have it all set up. It's literally as simple as what I showed you. Plug in the intake, plug in the waste and the drinking water. We're going to turn this thing on. We're going to let it prime, and we're going to fill up our gallon jug. And I'm also going to show you guys how long it'll take to fill up a gallon. As you can see, oh, there's a little bit left in there. So gallon's totally empty. So we're going to go ahead and let this prime. And while it's doing that, a couple things I just want to mention while it's doing its thing here and getting ready for us. So the battery life on this thing, I'll put some specs on the screen because I can't remember everything off the top of my head. But one thing I will say is over the, I don't even know, my couple months of using this thing, I've had it on multiple trips with me. I have used this thing in multiple different bodies of water, lakes, streams like this. Everywhere I've taken it, the drinking water is perfect. I'm going to show you, towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you how it actually filters coffee. But any body of water, I don't care if it's been, you know, somewhat on the cleaner side, like this river, looking at it, this river looks like it's relatively clean. It's not anything you would drink just right out of the river, obviously. But you can tell it's not like muddy or murky, but I have used it in a lake. One lake in particular that I did use it, and the water was murky to almost borderline muddy, and the drinking water was perfect. Literally tasted like bottled water. I was actually kind of floored at how well it did. So again, this is a relatively clean body of water here for the most part. One thing I do want to mention with that though is what you want to do. They say the wastewater, so the water that's coming out of the blue hose here, they say you can use that to wash dishes and things like that. Out of a body of water like this, you can absolutely do that. Though when I used this in that like murky lake that I tried it out on, drinking water, perfect. The wastewater still had a little bit of color to it, so I don't know if I would use the wastewater out of a dirty body of water is what I'm getting at. Again, if the body of water is relatively clean like this, you can absolutely use that wastewater or the blue hose water to do dishes and things like that, like they claim. But just keep that in mind. If you're getting your water from a dirty body of water, I don't know if I would use it to wash dishes and things like that, like they claim. So Drinking water though, I'm telling you, it has been awesome no matter what body of water I use. So this thing has been priming for a little bit. The one thing I do want to mention too, I'm not sure if I mentioned it yet. I've obviously used this thing multiple times at this point, but the very first time you do use it, or after you change the filters, you do want to let it run for 10 minutes. So just keep that in mind as well. Once you run it for 10 minutes for that first time, you know, when it's brand new or after a filter change, then you're good to go. You could just do what we did, throw your filter in, and we're ready to rock. So I'm gonna go ahead and, before we do anything, let me grab my I have a smaller bottle. Here it is. So let's dump this out, and I'm gonna fill up this with the drinking water. I'll give you a look at how clear it is. Obviously we'll taste it, and then we'll do the time test for the gallon. Hey guys, if you like what you're seeing and you want to pick up one of these portable water filters, which I highly recommend, there will be a link and a discount code down below for you. They were nice enough to give me a code to save my viewers some money. I believe it's a 20% off discount code. So that will be linked down below for you. It'll take you right to the product. Plug in that code, save a few bucks, and pick yourself up one of these portable water filters. So just give you a little bit of an up close look at the flow. Again, your wastewater coming out of the blue. I don't want to lose my jug here. Hopefully you can see the water coming out of there for your drinking water. Whoops, let me get you in frame there. Sorry, I'm trying not to lose my jug on the ice. It's sliding here. So as far as the flow coming out of the two tubes, the wastewater does come out a little bit quicker, which makes sense. Again, it's only going through that hybrid filter, so it's not going through the the extreme filtering process, but still a decent flow, coming out of the drinking water there. Hopefully you can see this. All right, guys, we have our 16-ounce filled right up to the top, and this doesn't surprise me because, again, I've used it multiple times at this point. But let me see if I can get it close to the camera. The water is crystal clear, and that's literally what you're going to see even out of that murkier lake. The drinking water comes out, and I apologize if the wind is blowing in the mic. It's cold and windy out here today. But crystal clear. And I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to be odorless and tasteless, just like every other body of water I've gotten it from. So, bottoms up. No smell. No taste. Literally just like bottled water. You cannot tell the difference. If I took a bottle of water from the store and handed you two of them, one bottle of water from the store and one bottle of water from a body of water, you would not tell the difference. I'm telling you, they're literally, it's just as good as bottled water you would get out. And you know what's actually, as I'm saying that, I just read this on the label for this bottle of water. It says purified by reverse osmosis. So literally what we're doing right here with the ITEHIL water purifier. So that's good stuff. All right, last but not least, let me show you how in this, this weather, freezing cold, jug is totally empty. Shake that last little bit out of there. And let's pop it in here. We're gonna start the stopwatch. And obviously I'll do this in fast forward so you don't have to sit here and watch the whole thing. Well, let's see how long it takes to fill that gallon jug with the drinking water. Pop it in, and we'll hit start and pop it in. You can see the timer's running. So I'll go ahead and fast forward this. Not going to touch it until it's full. All right, guys, we are just about full. I'm gonna hit stop on the phone. Stop. So we got 33, I'm sorry, 30, hopefully you can see this, 35 minutes and 33 seconds to fill up the gallon jug. All right, now, again, that's a little bit on the slow side, but there's ways to kind of get around wasting time and sitting here while it just filters the water. So let me kind of, I'm actually going to fill up my water jug for the ride back to my campsite. And then, yeah, we'll wrap this up. I'll go over a couple tips with you, share my final thoughts, and yeah, we'll go from there. Let me share something with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, that took a little bit longer than it usually does. And I was curious why, because again, this water, it's not the cleanest water, but it's definitely not the dirtiest. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but one of the, right there, hopefully you can see it in the video, one of the, whatever it is, I don't know if it's carbon in the pre-filter or whatever, one of them particles got loose and was in the hose. So that's why the flow wasn't going as quick as I'm used to it going. Which made sense because, I mean, this thing isn't super quick, I'll be honest with you. It's not the fastest filter in the world. But again, when you're filtering down to particles that are, I want to say it's 0.0005 microns, I mean, this basically removes everything out of your water. You know, it's not going to be the fastest filter, but that did take a little bit longer than it usually does. I thought maybe because of the cold weather and, you know, it does run off of lithium batteries. So I thought maybe that had something to do with it, but that makes sense that there was a little particle in the hose. So just something to keep an eye on. That's the first time that's happened to me, to be honest. So just wanted to show it to you and mention it because again, typically it does fill up a gallon jug a little bit quicker than that. All right, guys, last test that I wanted to do, we're going to do the coffee test that they actually show this on their website. You can see we have the pre-filter in the coffee right there. We're going to turn this thing on and see, you know, if it filters it completely, and then I'm going to taste it to see if there's any kind of residual taste from the coffee. So everything is set up. We have our wastewater or blue hose going into the sink. I will put some in one of the glasses, and then obviously we have our drinking water right here. So let's go ahead and turn this on. You can see it's sucking up the coffee there. Now, I don't know if this is going to turn out on video, but you can clearly see the wastewater, or the blue hose, is much darker than the drinking water. So let me grab a mug here with 2 glasses, and we'll put some of the wastewater in here. There you can see the wastewater, and we're kind of actually quickly running out of coffee here. So we'll get just enough to kind of taste the drinking water. All right, so there's our drinking water. It looks crystal clear. Go ahead and get this out of there, let it empty out. And I'm gonna run this through some water to clean it actually. So let's go ahead and just turn that off for right now. Set the hoses down. Okay. So hopefully you can see this. The wastewater or coffee, and then the drinking water, which is literally crystal clear. I don't know if it'll show up on video, maybe, but let's give it a taste. Absolutely no smell. And there's no taste. It tastes just like bottled water. So the coffee test that they show on their website does in fact absolutely work. All right, guys, there you have it. The ITEHIL portable water filter, super lightweight, compact, gives you drinking water no matter where you are, as long as you have any kind of water source. Couple tips that I wanted to give you. Number one, as far as the filtration time, we talked about it a little bit, but what I typically do, again, today was just for video purposes. What I typically do is, whether I'm at a lake or a body of water like this, I'll take a 5-gallon bucket, I'll fill it up, take that back to my campsite, and then I'll put the inlet, or I'm sorry, the inlet port into the 5-gallon bucket full of water, and then just let this filter at the campsite while I'm cooking or relaxing or doing whatever I'm doing. I'll fill up my my roto packs. Typically I use the wastewater in my roto packs, again, as long as it's a cleaner body of water. I don't use that wastewater, you know, from really dirty bodies of water, but that's what I'll do. I'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket. I'll take it back to my campsite. Now here, where we're camping right now, I'd say this river isn't technically on the campground. It's only about a half a mile away, so I didn't have to go far for the water. Unfortunately, where I'm camping doesn't have any closer water source. So, but a lot of places where you go, they might even have most campgrounds have like the water spouts or whatever. But if you're really off grid and you're not at a campground or anything like that, find any kind of body of water and this thing will work for you. So that's how I kind of get around just sitting there while it's filtering the water. I'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket, take it back to my campsite, let it do its thing at the site while again, while I'm cooking, relaxing, whatever I'm doing, doesn't matter. So that's kind of how I get around the filtration time. The other tip that I wanted to give you, and I don't know if I mentioned, you can hook this up to power while it's running. The battery is pretty impressive on this. Honestly, I've never really tracked how many gallons I got out of a single battery. I probably should have done that for you, but the battery is pretty impressive. The biggest reason I haven't really tracked it is because typically when I have my water back at the campsite, what I'll do is I'll just plug this into one of my EcoFlow power banks, whether it's my Delta, the river, whatever. I have multiple EcoFlow products. Whatever power source I'm using, I'll plug this in while it's running. So you literally never have to worry about running out of battery, even though the battery in this is pretty impressive. So those are the two biggest tips I can give you. Don't be afraid to hook this up to power while you're using it, so you don't have to worry about running out of power. And again, the filtration time, get a 5-gallon bucket, fill up the water, take it back to your campsite, and let this thing work its magic while you're at your campsite doing whatever you're doing. So if I didn't mention it, there will be a link and a discount code down below. If you do camping, off-roading, overlanding, any kind of outdoor activities where you go through a lot of water, you need to pick up one of these. It has been awesome, and it comes on every single trip that I go on. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below. We'll get you helped out. Thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you on the next one.